Hello folks, Typing Carter here, and I bring to you another Jimvitational 2 matchup. This is Winners Bracket Round 2 between Fruhdazi and Garay Oak. Fruhdazi coming off of a win in Round 1 against Crystal, and Garay coming off of a win against Mana. That being said, though, both these players have actually fought each other in Jimvitational 1 back in Round 5 Losers last year, where Fruhdazi came out on top. And for both these players, this is their third ADV Invitational appearance, both of them making their debuts back in Callus Invitational 7. That being said, though, let's jump right into this. Zap lead, Suicune lead. Fruhdazi favored here, and Garay has to instantly switch to Suicune out. Blissey is brought out as the Zap check, and Skarmory is brought out. Eats a Seismic Toss here, and Skarm should be able to get a layer of spikes up guaranteed. T-Wave is thrown out from Garay's Blissey, so we could be looking at a mono Blissey with like Seismic Toss only, and the Tyranitar is brought out. Sand is set up, so whatever comes in is going to take a lot of damage, or at least have permanent chip unless you're like a Sand immune. Claydol eats 32%, EQs the T-Tar, however, T-Tar throws out a HP Bug, that does 67. Switches out here into Gengar, predicts the EQ, and Gengar is going to threaten this Claydol. And nice double from Fruhdazi here, catching the Blissey switch. And Metagross is brought on Garay's end, and nice predict there from Fruhdazi being able to nail the Metagross for meaningful damage, and Claydol is brought back out here. Claydol will come in on the EQ this time, and once again, Fruhdazi brings the Gengar in. Garay anticipates this mid-rounds with Psychic. However, the Gengar will be threatening to Doll out. Blissey is brought in here, so the question is whether Blissey has... Oh! Wish is shown, so now we know that this is in fact Mono Blissey and not Seismic Toss Ice Beam, so if Fruhdazi's Gengar has Taunt, then Gengar kind of just sits on it all day. Fruhdazi's Swampert looks like it is like Mono Pert, probably. Because again, Mono Pert usually runs Surf as their move choice. Anyway, Suicune is brought out here, and nice entry point from Garay. So Garay will be looking to set up something here. And Fruhdazi tries to Toxic, but a sub is shown, so this Suicune now suddenly looks really threatening. But Fruhdazi has the healthy Zapdos that can at least try to trade and wear it down. And Zapdos throws out a Light Screen here. You don't see that very often, but it comes in quite handy for Fruhdazi here, as he's got to be able to stave off this sub Suicune a little bit better. And Ice Beam does 38% to the Zapdos, even Light Screen up, but this does work out, as this means that the Suicune won't really be able to do any like sub shenanigans as easily, and the Suicune is forced to switch out. Blissey is brought out here. If Fruhdazi has Taunt, now's a great time to show it, and it indeed does have it, so this Blissey is walled by Gengar, and Claydol is brought out here. Fruhdazi mid-grounding there with Giga Drain. And Salamence reveal. Very likely that Fruhdazi's Gengar might actually not have Ice Punch, especially like T-Bolt plus Giga Drain. Usually means that you don't have Ice Beam, but again, I've seen stranger things before. Anyways, another Spike is thrown out here. And all three layers are up on Fruhdazi's head. And Blissey throws up a Wish here. This Suicune dies to Sand, so looks like the damage rounded down. And Garay's last shown to be Hariyama here. Knocks off lefties, but it's gonna get roared out right away. Blissey is back to full. However, again, there's like the issue in Garay's case of actually being able to touch the Gengar sufficiently. Obviously, there's like the CB Ments, but Gengar's probably the biggest threat right now to Garay's team, like the biggest annoyance on top of the BKC Tar. T-Wave is thrown out here, so T-Tar is parried, so Garay hoping to get some full parries here. Rock Slide's here, and Garay is now in danger. Has to be careful with possible Focus Punch here. Soft Boils, no full para, and the Blissey will in fact go down. Metagross is brought out here. Metagross is extremely low. Gets the Meteor Mash off. Gengar is brought out, and Gengar will most likely be able to do enough damage to this meta. T-Bolt does the job here. And Salamence is brought out, and again, there's no lefty, so this is almost certainly CB Mance. That HP Fly does 20% to Skarmory, so again, pretty good damage here. And Toxic is going to accelerate Salamence's inevitable death sooner rather than later, and crits there. But Aerodactyl is shown to be Fruhdazi's last, and Double Edge here should be able to get the job done. I'd be surprised if it doesn't wrap things up here, but even if it somehow dies here, it should be fine. Anyways, this Hariyama dies to Sand, and Fruhdazi will walk away with the win here. So this is 1-0 in Fruhdazi's favor. We have game 2 here. Tar. We have a Tyranitar mirror. Garay switches out here. Fruhdazi DDs up his T-Tar. This T-Tar could be carrying Focus Punch. DD Focus very much a thing, but Obsidian's Rock Slide here does over half to this Skarmory. Brings out the Metagross here, and should be a free layer of spikes, but no, protects here, probably trying to scout out a Houdini explosion from the Metagross. This Swampert just Hydro Pumps here. That would be a good time to get your layers up, but or not, I suppose. Zapdos takes only 36% from Hydro Pump here, so we're looking at a very especially defensive Zapdos from the looks of it. And Celebi is brought out here, shows HP Fire. Spikes finally thrown out. Skarm protects here, try to get some health back, but Fruhdazi burns that by getting the Calm Mind up, so this Celebi looks very threatening. Garay brings out the Aerodactyl here, and Daydream does over half, but Celebi's gonna be forced out right away. Hidden Power, that looks like Hidden Power Flying from Aerodactyl. Zapdos is brought out here, dodges the Hydro Pump, so catches a bit of a break here, and that's at least half of the Hydro Pump PP used already on Swampert. Anyways, so T-Bolt's into Celebi here. This Zapdos could be like Mono Zap with like Breath Talk, Roar, and then T-Bolt. There's Roar. So yeah, almost certain this is Mono Zap. And this perk looking like it might be Endeavor perk. Rest is in fact shown. And the Celebi is shown to be faster. Pivots out to the Swampert here. Sleep Talk, throws a Roar. The Champ is brought out on Fruhdazi's end. The Champ, not a Pokemon you see very often here. Sleep Talks, throws a Rest here. Rock Slide does over half. So this Zapdos is now in real danger of potentially dying. Flygon's brought out on Garay's end, so Garay's team looking like some kind of Superman squad. Kind of reminds me of Jirachi's Aerodactyl Superman team from his Kalos Invitational 6 team dump. Anyways, Cross Chop does 47 to this Flygon, EQ did 39. The Machamp and Flygon are trading down health, and this is working out in Fruhdazi's favor, especially because Flygon is usually a defensive backbone with these Superman-esque structures. The last here could be something like a Gengar in these Superman teams. Anyways, Hidden Power does 14%. That looks like Hidden Power Flying. And reveals Fire Blast here, so we could be looking at some kind of like DD Mix Mance. This is a set that you would have most likely seen back in the Net Battle days or Pokemon Online when physical Skarm was like far more common. Anyways, Gengar is revealed to be the last, and Machamp was used as a Spike Sack, and now Tar is brought in. Lumberry is shown. Or rather, it's implied to be Lumberry, it could be Salic. And Toxic is thrown out here, and what do you know, it is in fact Lungberry here. T-Tar just double edges, takes out the Flygon, so that's an important key piece gone. And Aerodactyl's just going to revenge this Tyranitar, and now Salamence looking to be a huge threat. And DD's up, so this Salamence is in fact Mix or DD Fire Blast. And Hen Power Flying only does 29% here. Zapdos does not get the roll with the Sleep Talk. Hen Powers again. This Gengar is like Gary's last chance to salvage this game from the looks of it. And Hen Power just flat out kills it. And Gary's gonna concede, and Fruhdazi walks away with this one with a convincing 2-0 victory. So Fruhdazi will be moving on to round 4 in winner's bracket, and Garay will be sent down to round 3, which is loser's bracket only, and he will have to fight for his tournament life to still stay in this tour. That being said though, if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and consider donating to Jimvitational 2's prize pool. That being said though, I will see you guys next time.